Maybe after this hiccup, you guys can have an honest and a truthful conversation about where you want this relationship to be. Because relationships should be beneficial for both people. There's no point of you being in a relationship if you're going to be miserable. I think it's better to face life head on than to just bury your head in the sand and hope it gets better. Because most of the time, it gets worse. Hello, my wonderful gems. How are you? I hope you're doing amazing. If you're a returning gem, welcome back. If you're new here, hello, how are you? Make sure you set aside the vibe, and if you like what you're listening to, then please feel free to like and subscribe to this channel. Okay, I'm back after promising to be back, but then I missed a couple of days because apparently I felt sick again. I don't understand. But I'm recovering. You might hear it or might not, but I'm recovering and I'm feeling better. So we're just going to jump into the story for the episode. So, the title of the story is I've been having thoughts about leaving my boyfriend for some time now, and I'm not sure how to approach it. Let's begin. I'm a 22-year-old woman and I've been with a really loving partner, a 23-year-old man, approaching 2 years now. For a couple of months now, I can't get the thought out of my head that I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. He's super loving, treats me so well, so I feel awful and guilty for thinking this. He has a lot going on in his personal life that has affected our relationship, but we always got through it together. I just feel sparks are losing these days, and it's so conflicting. He's also been extremely clingy and anxious with me recently, and I feel like it's not really helping how I feel. I feel bad. I can't give him the love he deserves. It feels like he loves me more than I do him these days, and I feel so bad. I don't know how to approach this feeling with him too because he always goes on about how he's scared and how he's going to lose me or if I'm going to leave him. How do I go about this? Should I just wait it out or talk to him before making any big decision? Okay. So, well, it seems like this is going to be a short episode. All right. So, I'm just going to jump into the advice. First, she's 23, she's 22 and he's 23. And you have always heard me say this on this channel. I think in your 20s, you should date as many people as you can and just explore and really try to, after the relationship is over or whatever happened, try to analyze what went right, what didn't go right, what did you like about this partner, what didn't you like about this, what did he do or what did she do that you liked, and what did he and she do that you don't like. And I think after all those experiences, you can have a more rounded picture as to what type of partner you want to be. And if you're listening to this, you're like, well, I don't really feel like dating in my 20s. That's fine. You can just, listen to this and see what works for you, I guess. But I do think that a part of life is going out. It's not just listening to these advice or listening to what the right advice is, but also applying it for your life. I think experience is a vital and even a crucial aspect of life, which is why I always tell you guys to experience. But having gone through the experience is also important to analyze what has been going on. So my first question would be, is this your first relationship? How did the first one go? Why do you feel like the sparks aren't there these days? That's just how I would tackle this. And secondly, I know there are some women who are used to, I'm going to put this lightly, trauma and toxicity, and they find that that is more enticing, that's more adventurous, that's more whatever. And they attach those feelings of trauma and uncertainty with romance. Is that you in this case? Do you feel like he's too safe or quote unquote boring? What is really happening here? Another thing, a third thing, where I think a lot of you would definitely disagree with me, but this is something I completely stand by. I don't think you have to stay in a relationship with a good person just because they are a good person. If the relationship does not serve you or if it has truly run its course. For example, you're out here in your 20s and you meet this awesome girl or guy in your 20s. You both love each other, you grow together, they expand your world, you expand your world, whatever. Y'all explore together, but then after a while, life just happens and you feel like their character is changing, not just like something bad is happening, because relationships are going to have ups and downs. Okay, even though you want your partner to be all of that, they might not have the energy to give you all of that. That's why they're give and takes. Sometimes your partner is going to give you all the love, the affection, the attention, because they have that abundance of love, attention, and affection. And then other days, if they're dealing with other stuff such as like work stuff, or maybe something is happening in your family, they might not necessarily pour all that energy into the relationship. And this is when you, who has been receiving, now it's your turn to know, to give and to take. And then there's sometimes when y'all are both depleted. It's life. These are just the cycles of life. This is what happens in life. And I think it's very important to go into a relationship knowing this is an experience. This is where, okay, obviously you're in love first. Let's not remove the love aspect, okay? Because I can get very analytical, and it's like, what are you talking about? So obviously there is the love, there is the attraction, there is the affection. But then after everything has settled in, there are going to be some downs. Your partner is going to have down moments in their life. Maybe if they're an upbeat person, now they're a little bit more quiet because something is happening. They're just dealing with life. And I wouldn't suggest you necessarily exit when this happens. I've seen a lot of people just do this, bye, see ya, because it's usually in these times that you're able to understand, is this the person for me? Like, how do they tackle on going through this traumatic event, or how do they tackle on these challenges? And for the person who is the one going through the challenge, how is your partner being a recipient to you going through a challenging period in your life? Are they supportive, or are they just trying to dip out? I think all of these stuff can be very important when you're dating. Obviously, there's also the love aspect, okay? I'm not denying that. It's obviously there. But I think all of those stuff are things to take in consideration. And yes, it can be very difficult to take these things in consideration when, you're caught up in the moment. I get it. We've all been there. We've all done that. But after stepping back, I think it is a good thing to reflect about. So I'll actually also advise you. I guess I'm going to start advising this. Add like days of reflection or monthly reflection, so weeks of reflection of how your relationship is going. I think it's very important to be intentional when you are pursuing an aspect of your life. This can be you being intentional with yourself, or you being intentional with your partner in any way that may mean. I know you've heard me say sometimes, like, what type of person do you want to be? I think it's very important to be intentional and effectively communicate how you want to be. Or an example can be, you want to be a good person, or you want to be a good girlfriend or boyfriend, but how does that look like for you? How do you plan or showcasing those acts of goodness? Because goodness might not be the same for everyone. And I think it's important to be intentional with that. And unfortunately, some people are going to see our goodness, our good deeds, our good acts as nothing and not appreciate it. So basically, it's a part of life. It's a learning curve. I'm learning as I'm growing, and and even after I give you guys these advice, this is always something I keep learning. But going back to this young lady and her dilemma, I think it's very important for you to see what is not working for you in the relationship. Is it because of these outside circumstances, like you said, you're feeling guilty and awful, and he is it because of these outside circumstances, such as his personal life affecting your relationship? What about his personal life is affecting? Is it something like maybe he's drinking a lot, or maybe is it just like, knock on wood, I don't want to say this, but like someone passed away in the family? What about the personal life is affecting the relationship? And don't be afraid to get specific about these stuff, because sometimes we can just tell ourselves an idea, a message, and we're scared to get into the nitty gritty. But it is in getting into the nitty gritty and making it extremely specific that you'll be able to understand what's really happening. So in this circumstance, is it something in your partner that has, is it their, do you feel like their character has changed, Or is it like an external circumstance beyond their control and now they're just having a down period? What is that? Obviously, if it's just a down period, I'm going to tell you just try to support your partner as best as you can. I would never tell you to deplete yourself because of your partner, but do try to support them as best as you can. And if you feel like you're just not strong enough to support them in this time, then even though it may sound selfish, but I do think it's better for you to be aware and know that I am losing myself in the process of trying to save you. It's better for me to just pull back. Some people might disagree with this, but I think this is also where I guess the bulk of my advice comes from this awareness of knowing what you're capable of doing, what you're not capable of doing, and sometimes might seem a little selfish, what you do not want to do. And ultimately, at the end of the day, this is just a communication issue. Communicate with your partner. Don't be afraid to come out and ask them when you stepped into this relationship. Obviously, there was the love, the attraction, the wanting to know each other, all of that. What type of boyfriend did you want to be, and what type of girlfriend did you expect? This can be devastating. Okay, some people are not ready to hear the truth. Some people don't want to hear what the partner's saying, but I do think having an open communication and leaving that line of communication and always talking and growing together, and sometimes these things are going to change. In having these conversations, this is also how I was able to get a better idea of how some people are. Because our society, I'm just going to relay it back to society. Society tells women to get a provider and tells men to be a provider. And lately, during these couple of weeks, I've started to hate the word provider because most people don't even know what they're providing. They think is financial, usually just financial. They stop at financial, but there are so many ways to provide. And another thing, not everyone wants to be a provider and stuff like that. So I think it's very important to just have these open line of communications, even in your 20s, because this is when you're exploring, you're dating this person, you're dating that person, you're seeing how which personality you get more along with. You're peeping some game because some people will try to bamboozle you. Unfortunately, you're peeping some game, and you know, and they start doing A, maybe it's going to result in B, or it may not result in B, but you have that in the back of your mind. It's not something you just blindly follow and think that you're Prince Charming, which I was going to say there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like there's something wrong with that. So I'm just going to say nothing. But yeah. So, yeah, I would just say talk to your partner and try to be extremely open, extremely candid, and extremely truthful, even if you do not want to do it. I'm also not sure if this is the best time for you to have such an honest conversation with your partner. I find that honest conversations tend to be a little bit easier at the beginning before people get enmeshed or they get into a routine together. It's very hard. It's very hard for you to analyze something if in the beginning you never set that foundation of this is what we're working towards. It's very hard for, and I think a perfect example of this would be people who are just dating. One person is expecting for the relationship to eventually get to marriage, whereas the other person is just like, I'm okay with you being my forever partner without getting legally involved. And then you wonder, some people may feel like, well, what's it called? You dragged this along. You strung me along when I could have gone somewhere else and hopefully gotten those marriage paper. But the thing is, did you communicate that? Did you communicate that this was important? And are you okay with that person leaving you? Are you okay with that person leaving you if they don't want the same thing as you? And I do understand it takes a whole lot of courage, and it takes a whole lot of self-reflection and self-confidence to be able to do that. But I also find that it saves a lot of headaches and brings peace. So, but now that you're here, we're not going to talk about what you should have done. We're going to talk about how to go about it now. So I would just Wait it out depending on the situation that your partner is going through, especially since he's being clingy with you and maybe anxious. I don't know if he feels like he needs support or you're his safe space. I don't know. I'm not sure. She didn't put a lot of details, which is fine. But it's just I would try to see if maybe after this hiccup you guys can have an honest and a truthful conversation about where you want this relationship to be, because relationships should be beneficial for both people. There's no point of you being in a relationship if you're going to be miserable. That's what I think anyway. You should only be in a relationship if it teaches you something new or it brings you more fulfillment. Other than that, what's the point? That's how I see it. Might as well go a life alone. Yes, you might have some sleepless night. Yes, you might want to turn around and see that person by your bedside, but at the end of the day, isn't it better to be at peace? I don't know. That's just kind of how I see it. But yeah. So that's my thought. And I do understand if you have fear of abandonment or you don't like being alone, that's a completely different topic. We're not going to tackle that here. But if you do have those fears, I can understand how this can be very triggering or even borderline traumatizing for you, because you do want that comfort. You do want that physical presence there. But I just find that being open and being candid to the response, regardless of what it is, always tends to be the better outcome. I think it's better to face life head on than to just bury your head in the sand and hope it gets better, because most of the time it gets worse. So yeah. All right. So that is it for today. Please let me know what you thought in the comment section below. And from now on, I usually like being outside. Even though it's summer, it's just I've been getting sick a lot. So from now on, we're just going back inside. No more outside for us. So for the people who like it when the background is a bit more outside, I apologize. It's just this summer, my body has not been reacting well to these temperatures this summer. I've just been sick over and over and over again. I've never been the type to be this sick, but enough about me. So if you want to send your story, then please visit our website. It's called kitchentableadvice.com. That's where we get some of our stories as well as business inquiries. Our website also has a plethora of other stuff. We have art that I have labeled weird contemporary art made by me. And I think I'm about to add another piece in there. I haven't added a piece in a while, but I think I'm about to. We also have blogs about social, political, or just any type of thing that comes to my mind, as well as poems that just take a dark turn. So if that interests you, then please visit the website. And lastly, if you do feel inspired or you do feel touched by anything I have said, either on YouTube, Spotify, or on the website, then please feel free to let me know. I love hearing your comments. I love hearing what you thought of the advice. And I just like hearing what you guys have to say. All right, so thank you so much for spending your day with me, and I see you next week. Bye.